Hello, this is Felipe Zuniga from the Mortgage Calculator team, and this is a user story documentation video for story number 2738, the data visualization tool. So here is the description and acceptance criteria on the Mingle. Description goes like this. As a user, I would like an easy to understand graphical tool to visualize the total costs and fees I would have to pay for a property given my particular situation. And without further ado, here is the data visualization tool. Now, the tool's looking a little bit different than the last user story. There is a couple styling changes and of course some defects were fixed as well. So to talk a little bit about the tool, the data visualization tool is made up of 4 different elements, different user stories, which were broken down as a data visualization tool with an epic. So we have the inputs. This is how the user interacts with the tool. And the visual data elements. This is what returns information, computes values, and basically presents the information to the user. So a good way of thinking about this in a model view controller framework is the inputs are the model for these view elements right here. And the controllers are the mortgage calculator controller and the pie chart and bar chart custom directives. So to talk a little bit about the tool, this tool was made to ensure that the user could look at different mortgage pricing elements and make an informed decision about, choosing a mortgage. So it's important to mention that these are estimates, but these estimates allow the user to see what their payments are going to look like over different loan terms and given different home prices, down payments, loan programs, interest rate, taxes, insurance, and HOA dues. It's going to allow the user to make an informed decision. So basically what has to happen with this tool, the user goes over here, makes some kind of change to the inputs, and our tool has to respond. Based on whatever the user inputs. So now I'm just demonstrating some of the data visualization elements. Notice how not all of the inputs are going to cause a change, but every single input will cause a change in the data legend. So basically, the way this works is this is all the product of some Angular magic. So the Angular magic being used for the directives, the bar chart, and the pie chart is the watch method. If we jump on over to the code, here is our bar chart, here is our pie chart. We pass attributes to our charts, and these attributes are the models for the input. The same exact model for the input here. So this way the directives are watching for any changes in the input model, right? And when it detects a change, it's going to alert the directive that there's been a change in the model. This change is going to cause the directive to recalculate the data set that it's being used to represent it and re-render the SVG element anytime there's a change. So that's the way it's done in the 2 custom directives. In our data legend, we're also using a little bit of Angular magic. In this case, we're using something called an Angular expression. Hop on over here to the view. Basically, what we're doing here is that we're binding data from the controller, from the mortgage calculator.js controller, to the front end through the use of angular expressions. What this does is that it's gonna call this function, calculate monthly insurance, calculate monthly property tax, and call these functions, return a number, and display it on the front end, on the view itself. This way, we're gonna have our home insurance, property tax, principal and interest, PMI, all available in numerical values and in a graphical and broken down manner. So it's broken down numerically and visually in the pie chart and in the data legend. The bar chart represents the costliest of mortgage pricing elements, the principal and interest. Principal is, as you can see, in most normal mortgage situations, as we'd like to call it, principal and interest is going to be what the user or the payer is going to be paying off the most. So what we want to do with the bar chart is show the user a quick little thing about mortgages. That's the longer you take to pay, the less expensive it will be, but it'll take you much longer to pay it. So these three elements basically help, as mentioned before, basically help the user make an informed decision about a mortgage. The data visualization tool is also in Spanish. And it was tested to ensure that the elements responded to the attributes that they're watching correctly. So if we open up our test file, we can see how exactly these tests are being done. So what these tests are going to do is they're going to find the elements on the front end by path. These all have specific IDs, and it's going to, we're going to find these elements by path, and we're going to edit the actual input in here. Once this input is edited, we're going to check the HTML, the source or the expected value of whatever the calculations returned, and ensure that that value is the same in the controller and in the view. If we run our test to see what I'm talking about, also the test is going to give us a pretty good way of seeing how the actual elements look when they're being changed, easier than just changing everything manually. So we run our script, and it's going to run 3 different tests. The first test is going to check the bar chart. So it's going to change home price, down payment, interest rate, and make sure that the bar chart changes first and foremost, responds, and that the expected value is equal to the value in the view. That test passed. Now we're going to check the data legend. That test passed as well. Very cool. Now lastly, the pie chart. Awesome. So 3 tests passed. And now basically the only thing that we're missing for data visualization tool to be complete is to integrate this with the production server. And yeah, that's about it. We have to integrate it to the production server and maybe a couple more styling changes to ensure that this element here is consistent with the other tools that the mortgage calculator team has done. But yeah, that's about it for the data visualization tool.